Nobody elected them, nobody gave them a title. But the moment things went sideways, everyone in that room quietly turned to face them. In this video, you'll learn why calm is one of the most powerful social signals a human being can transmit. We'll cover 5 psychological mechanisms, from how your nervous system mirrors the people around you, to why composed people are perceived as more competent even when they say nothing at all. By the time we reach point 4, you'll understand why the most influential person in almost any room isn't the loudest, and it may completely change how you carry yourself under pressure. There's also something at the end of this video that reframes the entire concept. It's the part I get the most messages about. Stay with it.
This isn't motivational theory. A 2021 study from University College London found that people in ambiguous or stressful situations actively scan their social environment for emotional cues, and they regulate their own anxiety based on the emotional state of others around them, which is, to put it mildly, quite significant. It means your composure isn't just about you, it becomes a reference point for everyone else in the room.
Point 1. The emotional thermostat. It's 10 p.m. on a Wednesday. Your flatmate has just found out their landlord is selling the property. They're spiraling, pacing, WhatsApping, catastrophizing. You're calm. Not dismissive, not cold, just steady. And something subtle starts to happen. Their breathing slows down. Their pacing stops. They sit. This is not coincidence. This is neuroscience. The brain contains a system of mirror neurons, neural structures that fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing it. Researchers at the University of Parma first identified these in the 1990s. Subsequent research confirmed emotional states are among the most potent triggers for this mirroring effect.
When you are calm, the people around you do not just notice you're calm. They begin to feel it, involuntarily, at a neurological level. You become their nervous system's reference point. That is what it means to be an emotional thermostat. And here's what's worth noting. This works in reverse, too, which is precisely why point 2 matters. Think about the last time you were in a stressful meeting or a tense conversation. Who in that room did you find yourself watching, and why?
Point 2. The competence illusion. You're sat in a GP waiting room. You've been referred to a consultant you've never met. They walk in, unhurried, relaxed, quiet. Before they say a single word, you already trust them. This is not rational. You have no clinical evidence yet, but your brain has already made a judgment. It's called the Competence Halo, a well-documented cognitive bias in which calm behavior is automatically interpreted as a signal of expertise and control. A 2019 study published in Psychological Science found that composure under pressure reliably increased perceived competence ratings by observers, even when the calm individual had no more knowledge than their anxious counterpart. Read that again. Same knowledge, higher perceived competence, simply because of composure. In British workplace culture, where understatement is practically a professional skill, this effect is particularly pronounced. The person who raises their voice in a difficult meeting is rarely the one people follow afterwards. The one who speaks last, slowly, and without apparent anxiety, that's the one people trust. But composure isn't just perceived, it's also strategic. Point 3 shows you why. What I'm about to say in point 3 is something most people have felt but never had the language for.
Point 3. Information asymmetry and the calm bluff. It's Monday morning. The project has gone wrong. Everyone in the room knows it.
One person, however, sits with their hands on the table and says quietly, "Let's work through this." No panic, no visible stress. Here's what their brain is actually doing. It has assessed the situation and decided that anxiety will not produce a useful output. But here is what everyone else's brain is doing. It is interpreting that composure as information. They must know something. They must have a plan. They're not scared, so perhaps this isn't as bad as we thought.
This is information asymmetry through emotional signaling. Your calmness doesn't just reassure people, it convinces them you possess knowledge or capacity they lack. Research from King's College London on leadership behavior under crisis conditions found that calm, low-reactivity leaders were consistently rated as more authoritative, and their teams made better decisions as a result. The extraordinary thing is this: the calm person does not need to have a plan. They need only to appear to have already considered the worst. And that is influence without authority. But there's a shadow side to this. Not everyone who is calm is trustworthy. Point 4 is where it gets darker. If you're still here, here's the part most people miss, and it's the one that changes how you read other people. Point 4. The dark calm, when stillness becomes control. She can't quite explain why she feels so anxious. He's never raised his voice. He never seems angry. He just goes very still. And somehow that stillness is the most unsettling thing of all. Calm is not inherently benevolent. The same neurological mechanisms that allow a composed person to reassure a room can be weaponized to destabilize it. Researchers studying coercive control, including a 2020 review published in the Lancet Psychiatry, identified what they called affect regulation asymmetry, a dynamic in which one person's deliberate composure is used to make another person's distress appear disproportionate, irrational, or unstable. In plain terms, staying artificially calm in a conflict can be a way of making the other person feel like they are the problem. This is sometimes called strategic composure in therapeutic literature. It is distinct from genuine calm. Genuine calm is open and regulated. Strategic composure is closed and controlling. The difference? Genuine calm invites resolution. Strategic composure prolongs distress. Knowing this distinction doesn't just protect you in your own relationships, it sharpens your ability to read every room you walk into. Which brings us to point 5, and the part of this that is entirely within your control. If you're still with me here, this next point is the practical heart of everything we've covered. Point 5. Training the regulation reflex. It's 8:50 a.m. The exam is in 10 minutes. Everyone around you is reviewing notes at speed, muttering, tapping their feet. You know the material, but the group anxiety is contagious, and your palms are starting to respond. What most people do not realize is that composure under pressure is a skill, not a personality trait, not something reserved for a particular type of person, a trainable, practiced capacity. Research from Oxford's Department of Experimental Psychology has explored what they term regulatory flexibility, the ability to choose and apply different emotional regulation strategies depending on context. The people who appear naturally calm in difficult situations are not suppressing their anxiety. They're processing it differently and faster. One evidence-based technique is physiological sighing, a double inhale through the nose, followed by a slow, extended exhale. Stanford neuroscientist Andrew Huberman has written extensively on this. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system within seconds.
Another is what therapists call cognitive labeling, naming the emotion you're feeling silently to yourself. I am anxious. This is manageable. The act of labeling emotion reduces its intensity, a finding replicated across multiple studies, including research from UCL's Psychology and Language Sciences department. You do not need to feel calm to appear calm, but, and this is what years of practice will teach you, the appearance of calm gradually becomes the reality. The body follows the signal you give it, and so does every other body in the room.
At the start of this video, I described someone that no one elected and no one formally appointed, someone who simply held steady. Here is the secondary hook I planted early on, now paid off. The most influential person in a room is not the one with the most to say, it is the one whose nervous system others borrow. And that phrase, borrow a nervous system, is not a metaphor. When you are genuinely regulated, the people around you co-regulate through you. You become a neurological resource. Which means that working on your own inner stillness is not a personal project, it is a social one. The calmest person in the room isn't just surviving the situation, they are quietly reshaping everyone else's experience of it. If this has shifted how you think about composure, the next video on how smart people win arguments without proving they're right goes even further, and it is honestly the one most people message me about. One question before you go. Which of these 5 mechanisms do you recognize most in yourself or in someone you know? Drop the number below. I read every one.